Well, Jen and Tom, the spin room is spinning right now. It's live and wow, there's a lot of activity going on. And you said, Scott, to me earlier that the spin room kind of gave you an idea of how this debate went tonight.
You bet. I think the buzz right now is about Amy Klobuchar. She seemed to do very well. She was substantive, she had good one-liners, and the buzz around here is that if you had to pick a winner in tonight's performance, it's definitely her.
And you also said Sanders came out on top too as well.
I think so. The bottom line with Bernie Sanders is he needed to come in, if he's the front runner as we all believe, he needed to come in and not lose this thing tonight. He parried and jumped out of the way of any attacks. He did a good job of explaining his own views. If he was the front runner coming in tonight, he's still the front runner going out.
And Mayor Pete saying he's coming off a momentum from Iowa. Did he keep that momentum here tonight?
I would think that Pete Buttigieg, I think, slightly underperformed. There was a lot of expectation around him, a lot of eyes on him, but he also was basically attacked by everyone else on the stage, which is sort of a first in this dynamic. He defended himself pretty well, and he didn't stand out. He did a fine job. He didn't lose it. But the question I have is, if it's a comparison between him and Joe Biden, where do we go from here? Because Joe Biden started his entire night basically saying, well, I had a tough night in Iowa, and I think I'm going to have a tough night in New Hampshire on Tuesday. So he already handicapped himself right out of the race. Very surprising. I'm not sure Joe, even though he threw a lot of punches, landed any of them against the other candidates.
So what does he have to do? I mean, four days away, how can he reassure his followers that he's the man for this job?
It's a tough sell when you open up with, I don't think I'm going to do very well on Tuesday. That's a really tough sell. What this does, I think, is it opens up a really broad opening for someone like Buttigieg to build on the Iowa momentum and have a good, strong weekend going into Tuesday. So it's unclear. I still think Bernie Sanders is the guy to beat for New Hampshire, but with 45% of those polled saying they could still change their mind between now and Tuesday, this is still a wide open race.
Right, anyone's game going into Tuesday right now.
Certainly is.
And we've heard from a lot of voters ourselves. A lot of people are still undecided.
That's right, yeah. The polls are definitely showing that you've got at least 1 in 10 who absolutely are going to vote, but don't know who they're going to vote for. I think tonight certainly showcased some great options. You've got primaries within a primary between Sanders and Warren, but you've also got the one between what I would say right now is Joe Biden and Pete Buttigieg, with Amy Klobuchar as this crazy X factor who has worked really hard in New Hampshire. So it's still a bit of a jump ball, but if you got to put money down, you still got to sort of think about Bernie Sanders.
Right. And as for Joe Biden, if he doesn't do well in New Hampshire, is this the end of his campaign, his presidency run?
So if he finishes below 3rd place, he's going to have a lot of explaining to do to the people of South Carolina, because at that point, that is his backstop. At the moment, he's leading in the polls in South Carolina because he's very strong among the African-American vote there. But if he does poorly again in New Hampshire, I'm not sure what case he makes to the people of South Carolina, because now it turns into a Hail Mary.
All right, sounds good. All eyes again on New Hampshire the next 4 days. We'll see how things turn. A lot of undecided voters, but of course they'll make their final decisions on Tuesday. Jen and Tom, we'll send it back to you.